What's up, everybody? You know what it is. We back here on the 4L podcast. We got a special guest. Graphene is in the building today to talk to us about a new project that he just dropped. And when one of our brothers, one of our close brothers does something special, we got to get the inside scoop and we got to let everybody know. And, the goal of this podcast is inspire people. So hopefully we can inspire some of you upcoming unknown artists or people that just write all the time and you don't want to put it out there. Hopefully we can inspire you a little bit, man.
As Phaz was saying, some of y'all know me as Jelani. Others know me as Graphene, and now you know me as both. I recently dropped a project on February 9th called No Box. It's a mixtape project. And this project is not on streaming services. I have to put that disclaimer first because I know people, that's the first thing they want to look at. It's a true mixtape in a sense. I grew up on mixtapes, so, the no ceilings of the world, as I'm sure at least some of the people on the call have. Those type of mixtapes to where it was like I am rapping on other people's beats and beats that I find to be classics. So, couldn't technically put those on the platforms, but it's definitely still available to buy through Bandcamp. And then also, SoundCloud, YouTube. It's my name, as you see here, Graphene. So you can look it up on all of that as well. The concept for it is how I kind of want to describe it.
Niggas still care about a mixtape.
Real shit.
Hey, Jelani.
They ain't get to make it home, nah. All because they hit the road, Man, on everything I love, yeah, on my soul. I'ma fight to change the story that is told about this yellow tape. Playing instrumentals when I'm riding through the countryside, thinking about my people dying and how often these automobiles turn into coffins. Now I'm caught in a thought that will should be in glove compartments.
All right, now we back at it, Lonnie. I need the inside scoop. Give me the concept. Give me, give me your thought process behind this, man. Like, what made you want to create this project? We know we got a thought and a half. If you haven't tuned into that, you got to tune into that already. That's one of the best projects out there. And I'm not just saying this because it's my brother, really one of the best projects out there. But what made you want to do this? Like, what was the concept? Give me everything. No box. Like, let the people understand what that means.
Yeah. So for me, No Box, it means a lot of things. And I think the crazy thing is the project itself describes it better than I could ever do it in words. So it's like, that's the thing, especially like the title track through the final track type of thing. Yeah. I talk about it a little bit on the final track, which is called Abstract Lines, in which we used to watch, me and my siblings, this Fighting Temptations. It was Cuba Gooding Jr., Beyonce in it. You see what I'm saying? Low-key a great movie if you never saw it. But in the very beginning, Cuba Gooding Jr. working for this marketing company for like a beer company or something like that, or a malt liquor company. And he just says out like don't think outside the box, think there is no box. And me and my siblings used to say that just after that, like, because it was like, that's low key raw, and that's like, that is how people should think. But then just coming up to the stage around December, I really felt the need to like express that more than ever. For the space I was in with my job at the time, the space I was in with the music, that like, okay, nah, I need to challenge myself and establish myself now that like, nah, I like to do all of the full range of things. Like, you can't box me in as an artist, but then also not allowing myself to box myself in at the moment. So all of that, for real.
Dang, that's powerful. That's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I would say it's just quiet.
So, you said you started the process in December?
Yeah, so I recorded these songs in like all in December. And then a few that I added. So Riley's Rebuttal, if you hear that, and Y'all Feel That, if you hear that, those are ones that I added in January because I wrote those in January. Like Riley's Rebuttal just was like, I gotta have something that's more like central to home, which is Flint. You see what I'm saying? So people who know about that one. And then Y'all Feel That, like, we was in Aruba for New Year's and Shy was playing, we was doing yoga one morning, Shy was playing Erykah Badu, and then I just started, you know what I'm saying, writing, and I knew exactly the beat I wanted to write to type thing. So yeah.
I think that's crazy because I love the Boondocks. I love the Boondocks, you know what I'm saying? Grew up on that, love it, still watch it today on HBO Max, but it's like just the fact that you're the sole writer, producer, maybe like not the beats because the beats are already made,
Yeah,
but it's
executive
like,
producing.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You put everything, and when you listen to this, you hear the different movie scenes, the TV show scene. It never veers from what the project actually is. And I'm like, if you see this, like, I don't know, just this, and it's a whole project. It's not like you did this 1, 2, 3 song. This is a whole mixtape that you did this. So I just want to say that's impressive. You know what I mean? For all aspiring artists out there, you know what I mean? The best way to do it is to do it yourself. You know what I mean? I think, especially starting out, I think that's the only thing I could take from that.
Nah, that's 100. That's
Why
right.
a mixtape though? Like, tell me. Like, I know you hit on like that's how you experience music, but like, what about your like you as a rapper? I know like what
Yeah.
you go through in the mixtape era. Like that, you know what I'm saying? That's a different energy. So why a mixtape?
Yeah, I mean, it all boils down to like what I'm in this for, and it's like a lot of people do rap to be a rapper, or they rap to just try to make bread. You see what I'm saying? Which, you know, we live in a capitalistic society. I get that, but like if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be rapping. You know what I'm saying? Or that's not what I would choose to do. Like I feel like there's a lot of ways I can make money that have nothing to do with music. So it's like for me, I came into it to be truly a hip hop artist in a holistic sense. And I feel like you can't do that if you don't do the mixtapes. If you don't, you know what I'm saying, know the history, all of those different things. That's why it's special being in New York right now. Like,
And
so
Lonnie,
being, yeah.
I think it's going over the head of people like what you just said before. You said if you wanted to make money, you wouldn't choose to be a rapper, because I think that's a false conception that a lot of people have nowadays. Like everybody wants to be a rapper, everybody, because they see all the chains, they see this, the cars and all that. And that's the misconception. They think, okay, I make a hit song or I do something like this, I'm gonna do all this and I'm gonna just get rich. But it's not like that. So can you talk a little bit about that reality?
Yeah, it's not. At least in the current, some people may know about how streaming works and things of that nature, but like stream one song, you're getting like pennies, not even a penny. So not even pennies on the dollar, whatever. So it's like at the end of the day, it's not the easiest route to, you know, make money in music. There are people who are able to provide that for their family and do that. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be able to, you know, make money from music. But I was fortunate enough to be around people, or come in contact with people, whether it's through working my job or going to the college that we went to where I saw some of the richest people I ever saw or ever heard of from money standpoint, and realized like, oh, this is what money look like. And they're not doing football. They're not doing music. They're not doing none of that. So like realizing that is like, okay, I know the path that I could go down. It still could, but if I wanted to strictly go that route, just make as much money as I can. See what I'm saying?
I got a follow-up question. I think a lot of times when, you know, people are making projects, they overlook the process, or, you know, the actual time it takes, you know, from day to day, week to week, and month to month. And like you being an artist, I know you very much live out what you're talking about in your project. So if you can talk a little bit about what it was like to be thinking about No Box, you know, while you were making this project in your day-to-day life, what was it like to look at, you know, life through this kind of lens? You know, you mentioned creating this song out of inspiration in January. So like, what did it look like from start to finish?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would say, like, at least for me, I look at myself as a very conceptual artist in a sense. So anytime you're listening to a piece of art that I'm putting out, it's very much in that moment, special to that specific moment. Like I think a lot about the moment that I'm creating it in, but also there's, if not a overall like message, there's at least a specific theme that's going across. So like I try to, if I'm gonna put that in the music, I also have to put that in my life. So like with No Box, it's everything. I'm drawing it, you know what I'm saying, at different spaces. I'm really like trying to encompass myself into that, listening to people talk about that idea in different ways. You know, not saying like, oh, there is no box, but talking about the idea of identity and what it means to have these different social constructs, or all these other things that you hear that people said on the first intro track. So really for me, it's just engulfing myself into it, which I can admit at times can be emotionally exhausting from an artistic standpoint. You know, diving all the way. It's almost like method acting. Like for people who method act and go all the way into the character and become the character, I can see how that could be emotionally exhausting. But because I am rapping about stuff that I'm already thinking, it's not as tough. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. But yeah.
Nah. I think one thing you brought up, like the intro. On the intro, for everybody who hasn't listened to it, it's like a bunch of different people explaining what No Box means to them. Why on the intro give that? Why would you do that? Why? What made you put all these different people up there giving their definition of what No Box is?
Yeah, because for me, the one point of No Box is that there are no right answers. There is no yes. That's what No Box is, or that isn't what No Box is. And one of the big things for me was to introduce it and make sure that I'm not the first person you hear, because a lot of times with music, it becomes so centered. It becomes, you about to hear me for all these tracks straight, but like I don't want me to be the first person you hear, and oh, this is what I think it is, because now it primes you. That like defeats the purpose of the project. So the dope thing about that was that I was able to reach out to Mo and Malik, are two people you actually hear on there. I was able to reach out to some people, um, a few people from just, I felt like, who had very unique experiences. Some people like my sister on there. You see what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say everybody's name, but it's in the credits somewhere if you just look around. So you know what I'm saying, and seeing that like, okay, without any prompts, anything like that, like what if they hear that concept, what do they think? Um, and I wanted that to be, and then I was able to curate it and chop it up and use Frank Ocean beat, which was important for me as well. If you know the actual beat itself, but it was just important to get that out to let them know that like while everybody said different things, nobody knew. Mo didn't necessarily know. Well, maybe Mo and Malik knew that each other were doing it, but like he didn't know that Shy was doing it, for example, etc. They never talked about it. They just cold recorded it, and it's like it flows together as you hear it, as if this was meant to be, but it was all random, and it's like that fully encompassed what the project's about, in my opinion. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So I can trust it, like, because what that sounds to me is that every piece of this was intentional.
100%.
So I'm very curious as to like the tell me about the fast feature. And
Yeah.
what does that mean, and what was the intentionality behind that?
Yeah. So the fast feature. So if you don't know, fast P spelled with a P, and a dollar sign for the S. That's my brother, like my blood big brother, same mom, same dad type thing. And that's a song that he had actually. And I just asked him to be a part of it because one, the same reason I had everybody do the first track or had all those people and then had my brother on it, it's like I really look at everything I drop. It's like, okay, this is an archival like piece of history that's like, okay, you're submitted in history, this is also your project type thing. And I understand that there anything I rap about or anything, you know what I'm saying, whether people like me or not, none of that could exist without all the people that I end up, you see what I'm saying, especially without my big brother. Like that's he the one who really brought rap to me like that. So like it felt good to be able to put his own, which is completely separate from me. If you hear the track, like we don't rap alike, we don't rap about the same stuff, nothing like that, but like be able to put him into my own so that he can now have a piece of this was like hella important for me.
Now, how will Graphene grow from that? You know what I mean? Like, so now you got, you know what I'm saying, some people close to you on the intro. You got your brother on the fast feature. So how will you grow from that? Like, are you looking to grow and maybe have artists, some big artists feature on some of your music? Like who like, and who would you want to do that with? Like, where do you see Graphene growing from here?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I definitely see that because I see music, and just all creation in general as a collaborative process. So I would love to collaborate with a lot of people. It's been tougher for me in the sense of like one navigating this and this identity as like an artist. That's fresh for me compared to like, oh, if I'm trying to work out with somebody and I was playing football, like that's easier for me to reach out because I'm reaching out as a football player. But now trusting something that's I feel like all of my music is hella personal. So like trusting something with somebody who I also respect is something I'm looking forward to, but also, have some anxiety around. But to answer your question about where it's going from here is definitely up. You see what I'm saying? Like this is everything I've recorded has been in this room, like this mic is new, but it's been on the first mic that I ever got type thing. All three projects that I've ever put out type thing. So for me, I'm looking forward to being able to collaborate with different producers, with different artists, and then taking it further for sure.
I see a J. Cole featuring on a Graphene track coming in the future. I'm just speaking
That's
into
fair.
existence. I see that coming soon.
Yeah. Now
Facts,
that I
facts.
mean
And you know what?
that'd be love.
I just kind of want to ask about the flip side of the forward journey. What does this mean for your legacy? as an artist? You know, how does this benchmark your career? What does it mean to your present right now? You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's real. And it's funny because ever since like I ever released my first project, which is Black Boy, which y'all know about obviously, that's when I really started rapping. And to me it sounds like it. But it's like I look at every piece, even through this point, through No Box, as like our archival type of piece. So like I understand that it's special in the moment, but I more so look at it as something, as a foundational piece for me to look back on, and for if you become a fan, for you to be able to look back on. And I look at that as like everything before I actually make like full studio albums. So for me, it's just special that like I guess I don't even know how to explain it. Like for me, I think that is what it is though. It's like each piece is special in the moment, but I'm always looking further past. Like I have 4 projects planned past this already, and I've already thought of that like every time I drop something. So it's like I see it as kind of a piece in a puzzle, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's also hard for me to articulate exactly what I'm trying to think, which is also like I think you get that through the project, especially in the last track. But yeah.
My question, where does that like I don't know what else to call it besides like nerve, like come from, like this idea that like you are already speaking about it about by what it's going to be, and like how does that, what role does that play in like you as an artist?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I mean, one, I'm confident. I'm definitely confident. That's just is what it is. For me, it's still I don't like necessarily when people talk about me in front of myself, but like if you, as y'all all have known, like that's something you had to have to be good at football. You had to have some type of self confidence to be good at whatever you end up being. You have to have some type of self confidence. So that's definitely number one. But then number two, I think I'm just a dreamer. Like I've never went into anything. I never went into playing football like, oh man, it'd be cool to probably get to college. It was like, nah, bro, I'm gonna go and win the Heisman. Then I'm gonna go number 1 pick. You see what I'm saying? Like that's how I think. So it was never like if I'm gonna do something in my mind, I'm trying to do it to the top. Understanding that those, like even me saying the Heisman, even saying number 1 pick, like a lot of that's external validation, but it's like understanding that that's where whatever the best is where I'm trying to get to. While understanding not trying to anchor my value on that, if that makes sense.
And speaking of the best, Lonnie, so I just want to, like, I know you kind of answered this already, but it's just kind of crazy to me that you spend all your time and effort on No Box. You put so much time, so much energy into it with the real, correct me if I'm wrong, with the realization that because you're using these other beats, or like you knew that this wasn't going to be able to go on Apple Music or all these other places, so you that lessens the amount of people that are going to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, you put all that time and effort into something, and a lot of people might not even be able to listen to it because it's not convenient or it's not as accessible. So just like tell me about that. It was like, because I'm looking at it like, dang, you put it all out here just to put it on SoundCloud?
Yeah. No, I mean that's a great point, and it's something that I thought about as soon as I decided to do it. But that's where it's like the idea of, oh, maybe a lot of people get to listen to it on a surface level, and just, oh, I hear it, I think that was cool, whatever it happened to be on a convenience level is cool. But like the cultural uh feeling for me of like actually doing a mixtape and actually having that as something that I know that I'll continue to do and submitting that as part of my legacy now, was way more important. And then from the effort standpoint, it's like, in my opinion, I'll be slighting myself and anybody who ever listens to me for me to ever approach any song. I don't care if it's a freestyle, like even if it's like one of them little TikTok freestyles, I'm trying to rap for real. I'm trying to give you one best first impression I could give, but then also like give you something that you can actually take away and appreciate. If not, like it's pointless for me doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's tough.
I was gonna ask, in your opinion, what was the most liberating part of the process?
That's a good question. I think the most liberating part, I think for me, it's often the inception. So it's the thought of the idea, like I'm gonna make this mix. Oh, I'm gonna make No Box Mixtape. Like that thought itself was freeing because I understood I'm preparing myself for this journey. Like while I'm creating it, this journey that for every piece of music, whatever I put into it, it's doing as much for me as I'm doing for it. If that makes sense. So for me deciding to go on the journey of like creating this mixtape was liberating in a sense, because I understood that I was about to knock down some of the walls or the box that I put myself in, or that I felt the world has put me in.
So do you feel like you did that with that mixtape, or you think that's like an ongoing process in life?
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing process, because everything is built, like we create structure as humans, and everything is built for us to, if not having a big house around us, for us to at least build rooms for ourselves. So it's like trying to continually, and it's not even knocking the walls down, because that can, you know what I'm saying? That's like somebody stripping you off rather than taking one piece of clothes off at a time. It's like just trying to be cognizant of the fact that, like, okay, am I creating a box for myself and actually reflecting, or am I inside a box as I'm approaching whatever I'm approaching, and being intentional with it going forward. So yeah.
And a crazy thing, man, I'm listening to these. I think I brought this up to you as soon as I listened to it. Like the beats you are using, you know what I mean? These are beats that I remember me, you, Mo, and Leak. We're in you guys' apartment. We sitting here rapping to these beats. These are like classic freestyle beats. So I told you, I'm like, if you're using these beats, you gotta go hard. You gotta go stupid. And you did just that. You know what I mean? So I think the question behind it is like, I don't even know if there's a question, but it's like it's raw. That's the thing that I'm saying. Like, that's what I take from this project. Like, it's a great project, it's pure, but it's like it's really raw. Because you hear the beat, you don't have to say anything, but every time one of us hears that beat, it's like, oh yeah,
you know what time it is.
Gonna go down. It don't even got to be the original song. You could just be talking on it, but it's like this dude's finna go crazy on it. And I'm just saying, I think that's what you did. I think that's what you did on it, man.
Yeah,
and I'm just proud of you for that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I thought about that with some of the beats, like Leak was kind of alluding to, like every single thing was intentional with the project, whether it's from the specific beat selection to the sequencing to how many seconds of silence I put at the end of a song. Like all of that is very intentional. So it's like
the silence,
like everything is hella intentional. You see what I'm saying? So it's like what you saying, that understanding. Oh, even some of it was like I could say Riley's rebuttal. My little brother Mir, I knew if nobody else, me putting this right after this and him hearing that beat, which is from a song that he put me onto this group called Bandcamp way back, you know what I'm saying, high school, whatever. But that was the first song he showed me from them. So knowing Mir don't even got social media, nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? But knowing when he hear that, then that'll be that. And then he'll appreciate that specific Boondocks thing. Because I remember us watching Boondocks, you know what I'm saying, as a kid, watching that specific, like all of this type of stuff is intentional. So it's like, it feel good to hear you say that and just be able to appreciate it. But, you know.
So you different, man. Like you just different. Because I don't think Graphene fits into what rap and hip hop is now. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not gonna say completely, because I'm like, you got artists like J. Cole and other people that are doing it, but it's like just what rap and hip hop it is now, especially for this new generation coming up, the generation right beneath us. You know what I mean? Their hip hop and rap is not what you're doing. Like you're really getting on the beat, and you're really talking to them. You're teaching life lessons, and you're talking about your experience. You're really inspiring people. So I'm like, how do you feel about that? Like you are doing something completely like off the grid. Like a lot of people aren't doing this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good feeling. It's a complicated feeling in a sense to where it's like, as you said, because a lot of people aren't doing it, just how our brains work as humans, you don't necessarily gravitate to different. No matter what people try to tell you, people love different. Like that's just not how our brains. You look for something that's familiar and then try to ride with that. But at the same time, like I know that, man, like I see this as part of my purpose at the end of the day. Like that's what I anchor myself on at the end of the day. And I know that I was gifted with the ability to use words in a specific manner. So I feel like I'll be cheating myself or whatever not to do this and not to do it in a manner that I feel like is authentic to myself. So it feels good at the end of the day, because I know this is serving me, which is then serving, hopefully sparking the mind of somebody else, or, you know what I'm saying, the heart of somebody else.
Man, I just want to add, it's so good to see you and see how your work is really artistic and how it's so fulfilling in your life. And it's really good to see how this mixtape is really a badge that you can wear now. You know, you dropped a real, true mixtape to how we would have seen it in the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Not that we
for real.
got to live through the 90s, but that's how
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was. But I think I'd just be curious to know, in what ways throughout your rap career or forward looking, what sort of other things do you look to wear as a badge to know that, when you hang it up, this is my record of legacy. This is my record of what I did. What
Yeah.
sorts of things, what other sorts of things do you have in mind?
Yeah. For me, it's the biggest thing is I want to be able to change lives. Like that's what I'm in life for. So not in the game specifically. Whether that was football, like the whole reason I really the thing I love most about football was being a captain and being able to feel like, oh, I can possibly say something to them that could help him, whether it was for football, whether it was out off the field. You see what I'm saying? Be able to change this person, the way they think or feel in some manner. So like that's the biggest thing I want to be able to take away. As many people as I can change something in their life, or at least allow my music to be a soundtrack to their life in a sense. So that's probably the biggest thing. And then other than that, like I don't really look at badges from a award standpoint or nothing like that. I think it's just doing music that I feel like is authentic to myself. So like I know Virgil Abloh, who passed away, rest in peace to him, always said like, trying to do stuff that makes, and this is paraphrasing the quote, but like makes a 17-year-old version of himself happy. It's like I'm thinking, obviously I'm 23 right now. I'm thinking about the 8-year-old self. And also like, okay, if I'm in a conference room with my 8-year-old self, see what I'm saying, 15-year-old self, and then me now, like how can I do stuff that stays true to that person as well. So yeah.
It's like that's beautiful to hear because like I feel like it resonates throughout the whole project. Why the bonus tracks?
Yeah. So for me, the bonus tracks were 2 tracks that I wasn't gonna include. I had made them like a while back, or like in December while I was making everything, just making stuff off the cuff type thing, and I wasn't gonna include them initially, but then I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do, I wanted to do the pay what you feel thing with Bandcamp, which is available, and I was like, I have to have something that I can offer there. So I was like, instead of not using them, somebody may actually take something from it. That you never know. That could be somebody who actually buys it, favorite thing. So let me just include it there. So yeah.
Man, so I just want you to give everybody, not even just the upcoming artists and aspiring artists, anybody, like I want you to give them some words of wisdom, some inspiration or something, because I don't think a lot of people, even after watching this, they don't understand everything that you just did. I don't think they understand the effort and that it takes to even drop that mixtape that you drop, even though it's not on Apple Music or whatever. It's like we talked about what was it being like the Mona Lisa? Was it the Mona Lisa or something? Like people may not know right now, but back a few years from now or whatever it is, they're gonna look back and like, dang, this dude is hard. But we are giving everybody the up close personal graphene, everything graphene right now. So just you gotta say for everybody.
Yeah, I would say, man, anchor yourself on your purpose, and because I really feel like that's what God wants us to do or put us here to do. And if you don't feel like you're in a position that's either leading toward that, or if you just feel like, oh, I don't even know the first place to start, like actually take time to yourself and like look inward in a sense, and start at least getting on that journey, because a lot of stuff, and No Box kind of talks about this, a lot of the world and everything is built to say you shouldn't do that and tell you what to do, but at the end of the day, like most people who giving you advice are not qualified to give you the advice they're giving you. So at the end of the day, you got to trust yourself and build that self-belief in a sense.
Role models ain't out here playing their roles. That's all.
Man, and that's facts. And then the last thing I'll leave them with is like my favorite quote, Jerry Rice quote, where he says like, "Today I'll do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't." And in football, I used to take that as just working hard. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna work hard today, so then tomorrow I could go, you know what I'm saying, really go crazy. But it's like now I think it's in every single thing you the way that you approach things. And for me, like in rap, for example, it's not just practicing rapping, but it's living my life in a way to where, I can live these different experiences, and that maybe somebody back in Beecher, you see what I'm saying, wasn't able to live, or same thing with somebody at Cornell wasn't able to live, whatever, and then be able to speak to these different people using my voice. So yeah.
Man, all I gotta say is that inspired me, and I know you inspire me every day, just like all of you guys do, man. And I'm just excited that we all get to, you know what I'm saying, get an up close and personal look at the journey you're gonna go on. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna look back at this, you know what I'm saying, years from now, and I'm saying this is where it started. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you, man.
Nah, that's real. Yeah, and you go follow me on Instagram at Jelani_Taylor. So that's JELANI _TAYLOR. And that's where you can keep, or at least most up to date with me. And then like I said, the YouTube, you can find Graphene here. You can type in Graphene No Box Mixtape on YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or just click the link in my bio on Instagram, man.
And if you haven't listened to No Box, you are tripping. Go listen to No Box right now. Go on his Instagram, and they got a lot of stuff there, man. A lot of stuff
like that.
There's a visual, right? There's like a flip book. There's a bunch of stuff, man. So if you ain't listened to it yet, you missing out, man. You missing a wave. We out of here. Peace. Yes, sir.